living in the area that we live in, we tend to see misdiagnosis quite often.
There are nearly 5 million English language learners in public schools in the U.S. Bilingual students are even more likely to be found in Western states like our own. Today, I'm at Ocotillo Early Learning Center to uncover something that has been hindering bilingual students across the country. As children come to school for the first time, they go through various screenings to ensure they are developing at a standard rate. This is when bilingual students can be separated from their peers from the very start. 1 in 4 kindergartners in the U.S. is Latino. These Latino students are 4 times more likely to be identified as having a speech disorder than their white peers. Typically, speech and language impairments fall into 2 major categories. The first involves ordering ideas and words into a coherent sentence, known as syntax. The second has to do with speech sounds and speech projection, known as articulation. Normally, bilingual students are being misdiagnosed because they simply can't be understood. Dr. Leah Fabiano-Smith, an associate professor of speech, language, and hearing sciences at the University of Arizona, has been doing research on the misdiagnosis of bilingual students here in Tucson.
Historically, in the field of speech-language pathology, research has been done on monolingual English-speaking children. So all of our assessment measures and all of our treatment approaches have all been done looking at children who speak only English.
Speech-language pathologists employed in schools typically get less than an hour with the student to determine if they have a speech disorder. If diagnosed, they are often taken out of the classroom and begin to receive special education services.
It's an issue that we're seeing in our field now, that kids are being misdiagnosed. English language learners especially are being misdiagnosed because they're being diagnosed as having a disorder when it's truly just a language difference.
At Ocotillo Early Learning Center, the school's bilingual speech-language pathologist, Veronica Dominguez, says their school tries to limit taking children out of the classroom by providing teachers with more aids to assist the students who need extra help.
A lot of these kids get placed. Once we're working with them, we realize this child doesn't have a disorder. It's more a difference than a disorder due to their language history and their language background. They're learning English. They don't have a speech and language disorder.
Dr. Fabiano-Smith and Dr. Dominguez agree there are a few tests emerging to help with the diagnosis of bilingual students. But tests like the Bilingual English-Spanish Assessment, known as BESA, are difficult to get a hold of and not widely known. These tests are often regional and based off of a small population of bilingual students.
Speech-language pathologists are faced with this challenge of, how do I accurately diagnose children when I don't have the resources and the training that I need to do that?
Dr. Fabiano-Smith believes we need a test with a much larger sample of bilingual children in order to help more pathologists and students.
We have to change the way that we're evaluating kids. We have to really take into consideration their background, their culture, their experience and exposure from interviewing parents and then while we work with the child, really taking all those factors into consideration before we make a diagnosis and say this child's disordered. We really have to look at, their language sampling and all of those other functional things to have more of a valid picture of the child's skills.
For Arizona Sonora News, I'm Paige Helfenstein.
Here we go.